Hey everybody, every year agents ask me the same question. How do I become more successful? How do I make more money this year? What steps do I have to take? And let me tell you, that's not always a simple answer. There are really only two ways you can make more money in real estate. The first is to generate more leads, and I'm going to be talking about that today. The second is to convert more of those leads you get with better follow-up systems, better systems to incubate those leads so they don't end up with another realtor. And part of converting more leads is also better presentation skills, doing better when you're in front of that client than the next person. I'm going to do another video for you later this week to talk about incubating leads and converting them. But I want to focus today on how to take your career to the next level by laying out a plan to get more business. And planning for more business isn't as simple as it sounds because it's different for each agent. See, there are three main methods of generating buyers and sellers. The first is to proactively go out and get leads by making lots of phone calls or knocking on doors. This is probably the hardest way to generate business, but it absolutely works. It's the most successful way. The second way is to pay for business, whether you're buying leads from Zillow, paying for zip codes, paying referral fees to OpCity, or mailing postcards, which you're paying for, or advertising online on social media sites and other places to attract customers to you. And some of you are doing that very successfully and are earning a high return on the investment you're putting in. And then the third method of building business is to build strong relationships with people who will refer you business over time. In the long term, that's the best way to build business. But it often doesn't make you money right now. And many of you are looking for a way to benefit from the current market to make money now. And by the way, we have to make hay while the sun shines. Interest rates are rising, which is a concern. But based on my experience going through the last three booms and last three recessions in real estate, I'm guessing that we've got a good 24 months that can be very lucrative for realtors, so you need to focus on making that great income now. And I realize some of you are earning pretty good six-figure incomes right now, and some of you are struggling with only a couple of sales a year. But what I'm going to outline today applies to everyone, regardless of where you are in your career. So let me start again with the three ways to build income. One is to start calling or door knocking. The second is to use systems to attract business or buy leads, and that can be expensive. And the third is to build relationships. So many agents ask me, how do I make more money right now? And the tricky part is that it's different for everyone. If you're willing to call strangers, then I can absolutely lay out a game plan to make you successful. But if you're not comfortable calling strangers, then we may have to back up to what target you want to go after, where you'll be spending some money. And that might mean sending postcards out, or it might be buying leads from Zillow, or paying referral fees to OpCity, or paying online to push your message in front of possible buyers and crafting a message that's going to attract those buyers to you. That requires some pretty serious follow-up, and if you're okay with expense, then we can work on a plan that'll work for you and figure out what groups to target and start building a relationship with. Otherwise, we have to work on methods that take longer. We try and build long-term relationships. And relationships can be posting on Facebook. It can be mailing postcards or newsletters to the same neighborhoods over and over and over again till they get to know you. It can be farming or joining groups or clubs or organizations, whether it's volunteering at a Little League or joining a business building group like LaTip or BNI or even the Chamber of Commerce. And maintaining continual contact with your social network, your sphere of influence, those people who like and trust you, your past clients. But it takes time and work, and it takes longer to succeed, so you have to be prepared for that. You have to be prepared for the time you put into it. One other item I want to mention before I get started getting specific about prospecting is that prospecting needs to be plugged into your calendar. If you haven't read the mega bestseller by Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, then you really need to. We tend to find things to fill our day that don't necessarily benefit us. And prospecting for business is critical to the development of your personal real estate business. And I know from experience that if you don't look a week or a month ahead and plug in time to prospect, you're not going to do it. So do that right now. And again, before I get into my first form of prospecting, which is making calls, I just want to remind you what I said in my last video. Maintain contact with your social network and your past clients. And one way to do that is a free tool that clients are going crazy over, the Zap Home Value Update. You can do this for your friends, your relatives, your neighbors, and every past client. So when you sell a home, just add that client into Zap, plug in their address, and click Home Value Updates, and the software is going to send an alert to your client every time a new listing comes on the market in their neighborhood or any time a home sells. And even if they just purchased the home, they like to know what's happening in the neighborhood, even if they just bought it last Thursday. They want to know what's going on, what homes are selling for, and this is a non-intrusive tool that does it for them and also reminds them that you're out there. In fact, if you've got time, I'd start compiling a list of emails of every single person you know and start plugging them into HomeWatch for their houses. They'll love it. And again, the way to do it is pretty simple. The quick steps are you log into Zap, you go up to New Contact, you pull it in, you hit Add New Contact. Once you've done that, you add the client's name and email address. It comes up with a screen that looks like this, and you pull down the More button at the top of the screen, and you click in Sign In as Contact. And once you've signed in as contact, it'll give you a screen that looks like this. You're going to plug in an address at the top. You're going to plug in the client's address, and down at the bottom, you'll see the little thing that says, actually, I don't think you can see it on the screen, but you see the little thing that says Get Home Value Updates. Click on that, and it will automatically start sending updates on new listings, new sales in the neighborhoods. And that's relevant information to your contacts. And again, they love it. So again, let's start with proactive prospecting, the first method to generate business. Calling people is probably the most avoided activity in real estate business, but it really does work. I'm starting today with the hardest tasks, but one that really works. And some of the places you can hit, if you're calling people, are expired listings, because they generally do list again with somebody. For sale by owners, almost all will list eventually. Old expires are interesting. Those are properties that were on the market last year or the year before that didn't sell. The person got discouraged, but they're going to come around and put it back on the market. And by the way, there are fewer people going after those than there are going after the house that expired this morning. So it might be a lucrative target. There are also owners who rented their home last year or the year before because it didn't sell. And this year they might sell it when the tenants move out. Or homes that are going into foreclosure and need to get out, so maybe we can try and work a short sale and get a sign up. There are lots of groups we can go after. Let me give you an example. We talked in the last video about a company in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, that has a lot of agents cold calling and making a boatload of money. This particular agent on the screen is Kevin Mills. I met him at a conference last year. And he had just started in real estate a couple of years ago. When he started in real estate his first year, he sold more than 40 homes. And that's in a tough market there. He jumped in his third year all the way up to over 180 sales in his third year. And by the way, he didn't list a subdivision or foreclosures. He did it by cold calling. He started calling expired listings and for sale by owners, and then he called neighborhoods where the firm had recently sold homes, and he did that every day. And he didn't use some super secret script. He used an old script by a trainer named Mike Ferry. He started brand new listing a home every other day out of the starting gate. And there are a lot of great people in our firm making calls daily and proactively going after business as well. One of the people that I've used as an example many times is Kathy Rogers. And Kathy was broke and desperate at one point and needed a sale right now. We use the Floyd Wickman Sweat Hogs program, very similar scripts to Mike Ferry. And she made cold calls 3 hours a day, 3 days a week, and averaged 3 listing appointments a week. In her first year, she listed nearly 60 homes and became our top agent. Eventually, she got married, and she had earned enough money that she stopped working so she could spend time at home with her kids. Let me explain why that works. In a hot market, 1 in 8 people put their house on the market at some point during that year. In a cold market, 1 in 12 people put their house on the market during that year. So if you call 100 or 200 people, the likelihood is you're going to run into somebody who's saying, I think I might consider selling my house. Just this year, we've had a few new agents in our company that brand new have sold more than 10 homes in their first 6 months. We've had a couple of them, and that's great. If you stop at the Bethlehem office, you're going to see Jim Reardon or Sarah Klinker or Jillian Olderman or John Salat or Tejas making calls and setting up appointments because it really does work. And again, I'm not saying you have to pick up the phone and call people to be successful, but for those of you who need a paycheck right now, this might be a method to make it happen. And again, if you are calling people, start building a database of those people who will have some interest so you can follow up. Now, cold calling is one of the most effective methods of prospecting for several reasons. First of all, it's a direct method of contact. You're physically speaking with somebody who might become a client. And secondly, it's incredibly inexpensive compared to other methods. Mailing letters requires you pay the cost of printing, the cost of mailing, maybe you buy a mailing list. And cold calling is also the fastest way to locate clients because it takes time to prepare a mailer, prepare a mailing list, get the piece together into the post office, and then you have to wait for the delivery before you can even hope for a response. If you pick up the phone and call people, it takes almost no time, and you can generate immediate clients. And again, you can call for sale by owners or expired listings, or you can select another target market like people in foreclosure or people who just announced they had a new baby in the newspaper, or neighborhoods where we just sold a home. But start by selecting a few target markets and then think up a reason to call them, preferably offering them something of value. So if somebody in the firm recently sold a home in a quiet suburban neighborhood, you might ask the listing agent if he or she is going to prospect that neighborhood. Chances are they probably won't do it. So make a list of all the homes within a certain radius of the sold property. Locate the owner's phone numbers, maybe on whitepages.com. But Lauren, you might say, why can't I just mail stuff to them? Well, you can. But remember that most mail gets thrown out without ever being opened. So in order to survive in this industry, you need to find business now. If you pick up the phone and start calling homeowners in the neighborhood, you're going to do better. And keep in mind that you're helping people by giving them an update on what houses are selling for in that neighborhood. But Lauren, you might say, we're not allowed to call anybody anymore. Haven't you heard of the do not call list? Well, cross-reference the list and don't call those people you're not permitted to call. Again, there are plenty of people, it's more than half, who aren't part of the do not call list. Go to donotcall.gov and look up the phone numbers before you call. So anyway, let's start going through some campaigns for going after for sale by owners. And for sale by owners or FSBOs are obviously those people who choose to try selling on their own without having the advantage of a professional realtor working with them like me. There are three primary reasons that some homeowners sell on their own. The first and most obvious reason is that they're trying to save the commission, and you need to understand this so you know how to talk to them. The second reason is some of them want control over the transaction, and they feel like they're out of control letting an agent handle the details. Have you ever had a client try and micromanage you? That's what a lot of for sale by owners are. And there's a third possibility as well. They may be trying to hide something from a prospective buyer and use a professional may prevent that from happening. So those homeowners who are trying to sell themselves are a great source of listings because historically most of them end up listing with a real estate agent. And despite that, they are very often the most challenging group to try and list. If, for example, you were not a successful professional realtor and you plan to sell your own home or you plan to sell your home, you might think that an agent does nothing other than a bit of advertising and praying that it sells. And that 5 or 6% commission is a huge chunk of your potential savings. So wouldn't you at least try to sell it on your own first? After all, you've got the nicest home in the neighborhood. Everybody thinks that. And you're pretty sure that someone out there is going to buy your home in just 48 hours after you advertise it, right? This is typical of the way many for sale by owners think. They test the waters before listing with a realtor because they want to save thousands of dollars. So in order to successfully list for sale by owners, you've got to understand their perspective. And you've got to move slowly. Although most surveys indicate that somewhere between 70 and 90% of for sale by owners eventually list their homes, most of those property owners believe they're going to be able to sell on their own. So rushing in and telling them why you're the best and why they're never going to sell it on their own is a recipe for failure. So instead, you've got to find a way to help them that's non-threatening. Now, the first thing I'll talk about is where you find for sale by owners. I'm going to show you the free way to do it. And then I'll show you how to buy leads through a service if you'd like to do that instead. Zillow, Craigslist, and for sale by owner are three of the places where you can find for sale by owners. Let me pull these up quick so you can see them as an example. So, for example, on Zillow, if you plug in a search, and I put in 18104 as the search area, up here next to it, you'll see all these dots. There are a lot of houses for sale in 18104. So if I pull down the little menu that says listing type, it shows there are 151 listings. 112 of them are by agent, so I'm going to eliminate those. 32 are builders. 6 are foreclosures. They're probably listed with a realtor. And then down here at the bottom, there's Make Me Move. There's 2 of those. Those are people who are testing the market. And pre-foreclosure. Those aren't really on the market, but pre-foreclosure tells you who is behind on their mortgage, and those might be perfect people to go after to try and talk to about your service of helping them short sale their house. So let's eliminate that for a minute, and that leaves us with 2 Make Me Move and 5 by owner. Now we have all these people that we can contact in this particular area. So we might click on one, and we've got lots of information about them here. Sometimes the phone number of the owner is here. There it is down at the bottom. And sometimes it's not. So sometimes we have to look it up. Second way to do it is to go to Craigslist. And on Craigslist, we look for housing, real estate for sale. And then you're going to notice a lot of these say for sale by owner. Third way is to go to forsalebyowner.com, and there's lots of listings here. And you might find one, and how do you find the phone number? Because on forsalebyowner.com, it doesn't give it to you. So we go to whitepages.com and we plug in the address. In this case, it's 765 Wayne Circle. That's one from this site. We plug that in and we find there are 2 people living there. We click on one of them, and there's the phone number of the prospective for sale by owner. So lots of ways to go after business and try and pick them up. So now that we've got that list, let's try a couple of different for sale by owner approaches. Once you create a list of for sale by owners to target, we're going to start calling them and keep notes so that you can call them back. So first we've got to introduce ourselves. Keep it simple. Hey, this is Lauren Keim with Central, or hi, this is Lauren Keim with Central 21 Keim, and I'm calling about the home for sale, 1313 Mockingbird Way. Are you the owner? The next step is to learn as much as you can by questioning the for sale by owner to get information. You've got to weave a few questions into the normal conversation, and you have to keep them talking in order to build rapport. We'll ask him 3 or 4 questions, but keep it simple. When you sell your home, where are you moving to? Oh, that's great. Do you have an agent working for you to help you buy over there? Because I'll be happy to help you as a buyer's agent. Is there a time you need to move by? Okay. Well, I don't mean to pry, but I am an agent, and I'm curious. Why are you selling the property yourself? Did you consider using an agent? Well, fair enough. So, do you think if the home doesn't sell in a few weeks, you might interview agents to help you get the property sold more quickly? And then you want to try and close for an appointment if possible. If they say yes, they're probably going to be listing with an agent in a few weeks if it doesn't sell. And if not, at least put in your schedule a time to call them back again. Well, if you are willing to put your property on the market with an agent in a few weeks, I'd love to be one of the agents who interviews for that position of marketing your home. So why don't we get together for maybe 20 minutes and let me show you how I market properties differently. I can stop by tomorrow evening or Saturday morning if that's better for you. Another script is to call and with the purpose of explaining that you're a successful agent working with several buyers that are looking in the area. You simply want to determine if this particular owner would consider paying a partial commission if you brought him a buyer. This is an easy approach. And as with the other approach, you want to assure the owner that you're not trying to list their home right now, because you don't want them to shut down and ignore everything you say. You don't want them to see you as that salesperson is trying to pressure them. So a sample dialogue might be, "Hi, is this the owner of the property listed for sale?" Okay. Before I say anything else, I just want you to let you know that I am a realtor, but I'm not calling to list your house. My name is Morticia Adams. I'm with the Undertaker Realty here in the Poconos. Again, I'm not calling to try and list your home. However, I do work in the neighborhood, and I have a number of buyers looking for homes right now, and I'm wondering if you'd pay a commission if I brought you a buyer. Well, do you have a buyer for my home? I don't know. I haven't seen your home yet. But I'm working with a lot of buyers, and I'm hoping that one of them is going to like your house. Now, from the ad that I saw online, it looks like a great property, but I do have some serious buyers that have been out looking. Would you be willing to pay a fee if I brought you a buyer? Well, what kind of fee are you talking about? Well, that could be negotiable, and I'll try and build my fee into the price. But typically, I'm paid about half the commission of a normal sale if another agent has the listing. So if I sell your neighbor's house and they've listed with XYZ Realty at a 6% commission, I get paid 3%. So would 3% be acceptable? I guess that's not too bad. Great, then I'd love to stop out if possible and take a quick walk through your house, just so I can describe it to all the buyers that I'm working with. What day works best for you? I'm free Thursday evening, Friday morning, again on Saturday morning. Basically, I have no life. So what would be best for you? And once you're in the house, you can discuss what to do to market it, build some rapport, and even offer to create a flyer for them, or you can tell them you'll stop back with a FSBO survival package. One of the classic methods of approaching for sale by owners is to give them something of value. If you put together a binder with much of the information the owner needs to sell their home, including a sales contract, a buyer qualification form, and every other form you can think of, that sometimes scares them a little bit, but it's something that's giving them value. The difficulty I always have when I talk about this technique is agents think they can mail a letter saying, hey, I'll give you a FSBO survival package. Or they mail a FSBO survival package rather than going to meet the owner face to face. And 9 times out of 10, you're far more likely to list a property if you actually get to meet the client. So you want to try and at least follow up, try and get in front of them, try and meet them whenever possible. And being able to tell them the first time you're there that you'll stop back with a FSBO survival package gives you a second time to meet with them and helps you build a stronger relationship. You could also try calling for sale by owners and offering to come over with that FSBO survival package. A dialogue might be, hey, is this the owner of the property listed for sale on Craigslist? Yes, it is. Before I say anything, I just want to let you know that I am a realtor. While I'm not calling to list your home today, my name's William Talltree and I'm with Lumberjack Realty here in New Tripoli. What I'd like to offer you is a fair trade. I'd like to drop off a full package of all the information and forms that you might need to sell your home, including a blank sales contract, information about how a buyer might finance your home, and 20 or more legal documents you might need to put a sale together. I'll also include some tips and techniques on how to stage a home, and there's no charge or obligation. There's 2 reasons I do this. First, you may find at some point that you want to hire an agent, and if you do that, I'd at least like the opportunity to be one of those people you interview. And second, if you are able to sell on your own, I'm hoping that you'll be so impressed with the information I give you that you're going to refer me to any of your family or friends that don't want to try selling on their own. Does that sound like a fair trade? I know that sounds like a mouthful, but it's also a strong approach to get in the door to meet them. They may respond that they're planning on using an attorney. That's okay. It still helps to understand what inspections, what contingencies, what conditions are typically put into an agreement between a buyer and seller. And what you see on the screen is some of the things you might include in a for sale by owner survival package. Now, I did mention you can buy leads as well. The inexpensive way to go after these prospects is to find them yourself on Zillow or Craigslist and research them a bit. Go to White Pages or other places. But I don't want to fail to mention that there are services like those you see on the screen that actually find the leads for you, scrub the phone numbers, in many cases find the cell phone numbers of the people who own the property, and match them against the do not call list, and then set them up so you can call them. Several of our agents already subscribe to these services, but they're not cheap. It may run $1 a lead. It may run $99 all the way up to $300 a month for one county. For going after for sale by owners, and another fee for going after expireds and so on. But each of the software packages allows you to track what you're doing in the software. The other thing you can do with many of these software packages is to buy expired listing leads or buy the contact info of anybody in a neighborhood to make calling a neighborhood easier. That's called geo leads. And I think either RedX or Cole Realty Resource even sells lists of probate leads and lots of different target audiences you can go after. So there's a lot out there you can go after if you want to, if you're willing to spend the money, but you can just look them up and try and find them that way. Again, I'm throwing a lot of ideas at you so you can think of what approach you may want to take to build your career. Because as we all know, insanity is doing the same thing year after year and expecting different results. And I've said this at almost every office meeting. Prospecting needs to be consistent to be successful. You've got to block off time and you've got to do it. It doesn't work unless you block off time and work on it. And it's a process, not an event. Sitting down and calling people once is not prospecting. That's starting a process. There are a lot of target markets you can choose to build your career, your business. I only talked about for sale by owners and briefly expireds in this video. I wanted to give you at least a quick overview to give you some thoughts. But there are plenty of target audiences, and we can go through whatever is going to work to help you to succeed. We need to help you figure out what audience to approach and how to approach them to start building a successful relationship and start making some money. And once you start prospecting, we need to help you to build a follow-up system to cultivate those leads so that you're there when they're ready to buy or sell or choose an agent. And for those of you who are not using a contact management program, a CRM, remember in 21 Online, there's Business Builder that has all sorts of built-in action plans, action sequences that you just plug somebody in and they'll get emails from you regularly. And in Zap, there are a number of action plans as well. You can put somebody on an action plan that sends them emails 5 or 6 or 20 times and helps you to stay in contact with them, and also sets up ticklers or reminders for you to call them. But we're going to talk about building follow-up campaigns a couple of videos from now. I wanted to at least spend some time today on proactively prospecting, going out and finding business now. Now, over the next few videos, we'll spend time on other methods of proactively prospecting. And we'll also talk about getting business other ways, buying leads online, spending time on social media marketing, how to attract leads to you, how to create inexpensive leads on Facebook and Instagram and other places, and how to build successful campaigns. And then we're going to spend a lot of time on a video going over long-term prospecting methods that really work, but it takes some time to gel. I hope this video has been helpful to you, and I do look forward to seeing you doing great things. Anything you need, let us know, but we are here to try and help you to be more successful. Thank you.